Okay, so here we are with another action figure unboxing, and this is McFarlane Toys DC Direct, Page Punchers, Injustice 2 Supergirl, and my, that's a mouthful, isn't it? So yeah, there's the figure in the package. Like I always say, when I ever open some figure based on a video game, I actually don't play a lot of video games, so I'm not too familiar with this one. I haven't really played it other than like a little bit that I played over at a friend's house one time, or like I just played like kind of a couple of rounds of it. It seemed pretty fun, but just like I said, I just don't play a lot of video games. I just don't have a lot of time for it anymore. And the most recent gaming system I owned was a PlayStation 2. So it's been a while. So, but I do really like this figure from what I could see of it. I thought she looked pretty cool. So I decided I wanted to pick her up. And I hadn't seen any figures of Supergirl from Mcfarlane yet, other than the one from the Flash movie. And that one was just too different for me. At least this one has blonde hair. So yeah, we've been over the packaging for these before because I opened Constantine and Black Adam and Superman in that Black Adam Page Punchers line. I don't and Injustice 2 Green Arrow. So I don't think I've done any other ones from the McFarlane DC Direct stuff. Uh, but these are Page Punchers. They do come with a comic book. It's probably the same comic book. It looks like it's the same comic book that came with Green Arrow. I'm pretty sure it is. I did open the Injustice 2 Dr. Fate, but that one was a regular multiverse figure. It wasn't a DC Direct figure. So let's go ahead and open her up. We're going to take the little tray with the action figure and set that aside for the nonce. And we've got the comic book. And this comic book's going to be too long for me to read, so I'm not going to read it on here like I do usually with the He-Man mini comics. Those are so short I could read them. This is a full-length comic book, folks. So there's a trading card. We'll be taking another look at that later. Here's the action figure stand, and as I say, every action figure should come with an action figure stand. It should be standard by this point. McFarlane's usually really good about this. Almost every McFarlane figure I've opened is at an action figure stand. The only ones I can think of that were exceptions would be the Batman 66 figures I'd opened, which unfortunately did not. So, but there's the action figure stand with the DC logo embossed upon it. So we'll set that aside. Here's the comic book. We'll go ahead and flip through the comic book. Even though, like I said, I'm not going to read it because that'll make this video way too long. But if you want to hear me read a comic book, go watch some of my Masters of the Universe Origins reviews, because I read comics in those generally. I read them if it's the first time I've seen that comic. I don't read it if I've read it before, because it's repetitive. So the artwork looks pretty nice. There's a nice panel of Supergirl and Green Arrow. And here's Superman in some kind of funky Brainiac looking outfit. Like I said, I haven't played this game, but it looks like he's being possessed by Brainiac. We know that Superman is evil in this version. He becomes like some kind of corrupt dictator. So, but it looks like a lot of characters get possessed by Brainiac in this. I saw Batman Brainiac and Green Arrow and Black Canary. And apparently they have a kid. So, but I haven't read this one yet. I probably should have read it already because, like I said, I'm pretty sure it's the same one that came with Green Arrow. There's a nice panel of some superheroes. So, got Firestorm, Blue Beetle, Green Lantern, Harley Quinn. She's a good guy in this universe. Batman, Green Arrow, and Flash. So, all right. We got a trading card, and like I'd mentioned in some of these other Page Punchers trading cards, usually I talk about if I see these, how I prefer for it to have artwork from just artwork rather than a picture of the action figure like these sometimes do. They do more artwork lately than action figure pictures. But I don't like how they do the page punchers ones because it's always the same. It's always the same cover. This is the same front that's on the Green Arrow trading card, only it says Green Arrow down at the bottom instead of Supergirl. What's the point of having like 4 trading cards, I guess? Because, yeah, I guess, because you have Superman, or sorry, you have Supergirl, you have Batman, you have Green Arrow, and you have Dr. Fate. They would have all come with the same trading card. And like I said, I already have the Dr. Fate figure from the first release, so I don't really need to buy it again. I don't like ridiculously armored Batman unless he's like going to fight Superman, and it actually makes sense. So I guess he is fighting Superman in Injustice, but still, I don't really like that outfit. I don't really need that figure. So I got Green Arrow because I like the Green Arrow figure. I got Supergirl because I like the Supergirl figure. So, but couldn't they have like just a drawing of Supergirl, at least on the back? Like it's just even if you were gonna just use that artwork again, just do like a focus where like you just crop out all the other characters and just have Dr. Fate in there for the Dr. Fate card, or just have Supergirl on there for the Supergirl card. I don't know why they had the same picture on every single one. At least concentrate on the character that you're concentrating on. Doesn't that make sense? Am I the crazy one here? Anyway, so here's the back. As a child, Kara Zor-El witnessed the devastation of Krypton before she was sent to Earth on a mission to protect her infant cousin Kal-El. That's the modern Supergirl origin. You might recognize that one as the one they had on the Supergirl television show also. Arriving on Earth decades too late, she discovered that grown-up Kal-El has been imprisoned. Still determined to protect her family and its legacy, Kara will fight her cousin's enemies as Supergirl. That seems like a gross oversimplification of what happens in the game. Although, like I said, I haven't played the game. I think I've gleaned enough of it to know it's maybe just a little more complicated than that. Maybe. So, anyway, let's have a look at the action figure. Oh, real quick, for those of you who are interested, here's how the 12-inch Snake Eyes is coming along. I made an unmasked head for him, and he's really ugly. So, I'm pretty happy with how that turned out. Also, here's the Commando head after I painted it. So I painted matte black all over the whole mask, but left the goggles kind of glossy, so they stand out a little more. I like that look. Very cool. And of course, there's the first head that I made for him, which was like the 1985 style head with a silver visor. So he'll have those 3 swappable heads. He's almost done. I'm probably going to add some more pouches and things to him. Should be pretty cool. Once I get it finished, I'll probably do a short where I put up some more stuff about him on YouTube. So look forward to that. All right, so the only accessory she comes with is 2 alternate hands, which are both fists. I am disappointed, I gotta say, that the stand that she comes with is just a standard stand rather than a flight stand. I kind of feel like all the flying figures should have flight stands, but she does not. So, okay, let's go ahead and very carefully cut through these little rubber tabs. I hate the little rubber tabs. Bane of my existence. Stop doing little rubber tabs. They're horrible. I saw the Barbie movie recently, and the scene that really got me as an action figure collector is when they try to get Barbie to go back in the box, and they're gonna put the twist ties around her wrists, and I'm like, no, not the twist ties! Anything but the twist ties! We wouldn't have action figures if not for Barbie. She deserves our respect. Alright, so there we go. Maybe Mattel, now that it has like money from that Barbie movie, maybe they can get their act together and give us a good He-Man movie. That would be nice. But I know that they're I heard they were doing Hot Wheels, and I'm like, oh, Hot Wheels, that might be cool. And then I heard J.J. Abrams was doing it, and I was like, oh, never mind. You already ruined Star Wars, and now you want to ruin Hot Wheels. Okay. At least there's no story to Hot Wheels for him to ruin. Can't wait for the mystery box approach to Hot Wheels. That's going to be fun. All right, so there we go. I got the cape out rather easily, so that's good. It is like, since it's Supergirl, her cape isn't quite as long or as flowing as, Superman or God forbid, Batman's cape is. So it did come out of there a little more easily. So this is going to be an interesting costume to talk about because it's not a costume that was ever in the comics, but I feel like it's got like some comic book history to it anyway. So we're going to get into talking about that a little bit. First, I want to talk about this head sculpt, which to me, like with that haircut, she looks a lot less like Supergirl and more like Power Girl. And in fact, I'm pretty sure in the game, Power Girl is just kind of a palette swap of Supergirl. I think they just kind of made all the, blue parts on here white. And I think they might have taken the emblem off and had her little peekaboo cutout hole, whatever the technical term for that is, her booby window. Something to show off her décolletage. We want to be fancy about it. But the thing that I liked about this costume is it actually reminds me a lot of the costumes that you would see from Supergirl in the early 1970s when they did her series in Adventure Comics. And kind of one of the gimmicks of that was that they let the readers write in their own suggestions for various Supergirl costumes. And to me, this very much has the feel of a lot of those, because a lot of those had red gloves. A lot of those had the sleeveless sort of bodysuits. Sometimes it had a mini skirt. I think usually it had a mini skirt because it was like the late 70s, so mini skirts were popular at the time. But yeah, when I first saw it, it reminded me a lot of those type of costumes, and I liked that. I think this is a pretty good Supergirl costume. It's not like the traditional sort of, it's Superman's costume, but it's a dress kind of Supergirl outfit. Most Supergirl costumes have skirts, and I kind of like ones that don't have skirts because I kind of figure like if you're flying around in the air, you don't want people to look up your skirt. That's just how I look at it. Maybe I'm the one with a dirty mind. I don't know. But she does have kind of the standard Mcfarlane articulation. Her arms go up about this far, and I kind of feel like they might go up a little bit further. Not much further, but maybe a little bit further if she wasn't encumbered by these shoulder pads. They do rotate all the way around. Again, though, with the shoulder pads, it kind of hinders the articulation slightly. We got a bicep swivel, but it's really tight, so it doesn't seem to want to go all around, but it goes around enough. Got the double jointed elbows, got a good range of motion there. Got the cool Mcfarlane wrist joints. I'm going to go ahead and pop off these hands while I'm thinking about it and pop on her fists. I think I'm going to display Supergirl with at least one fist. Might as well be the right hand. Let's just do the right hand for now. So, yeah. There she is with the fist, so you can see what that looks like. She does have the cool Mcfarlane torso articulation, which I like, and it gives her a good range of motion. Unfortunately, I do feel like with this particular costume, since it's supposed to be like kind of a solid bodysuit with nothing breaking it up at the torso, I do feel like the articulation kind of interferes with the sculpt a little bit, and the sculpt kind of interferes with the articulation. And I think that she would have been much better served if this was a costume that had a belt. And I know it's based on the one she wears in the video game. She doesn't have a belt in this costume in the video game, but I'm talking just in terms of general design of the action figure. If she'd had a belt in the video game, I think it would have worked out better for this action figure, is what I'm saying. So just so we're perfectly clear about that. I do really like this head sculpt, even though, like I said, it looks a little more like Power Girl than Supergirl to me. But I like Power Girl, so I'm not complaining. I do think that maybe they overdid it with like kind of this wash effect that they put onto her hair. Like if you look at how it is on the back of the package, to me it looks a little more subtle there. Not quite as subtle here. So maybe a little bit less contrast. There seems to be a hair that's stuck on mine. I got it loose. So I like the emblem. The emblem's cool. It's nice and embossed. I like that it's kind of the reverse of Superman's emblem, where we have instead of a red S and border on a yellow shield, we have a gold S and border on a red shield. So that's kind of neat. When I was a kid, I think for my 3rd birthday, my mom made me a Superman outfit that she based on a pattern, and it turned out really cool. I was really happy with it. But from how she tells it, she was up really late at night working on it, and she actually reversed the colors on the Superman emblem, so it wound up looking more like this one, where it was a yellow S in border, and she I think she hoped I wouldn't notice because I was only 3 years old, but I noticed, and apparently that hurt her feelings. And when she told me the story later on, she told me it hurt her feelings. That kind of, I felt bad about that, but I thought it looked neat when I was 3 years old. I knew it was different, but I thought it looked cool, so I didn't care. It wasn't a problem. I think she even offered to fix it, and I'm like, no, don't fix it. It looks good. I like it. So let's see. She can do the splits, no problem. Again, it's this kind of rubber trunks part. It does kind of slightly hinder the articulation. Her leg only moves up about that far. But, you know, like I said, I think it would have worked better if she had a belt. I don't know if it works so well with like a solid bodysuit like that. But not too bad. Not too bad at all. So, and she's got these kind of funky gold garters. I don't know quite what's up with that, but you know, it's a design element, I guess. I think I probably would have rather she had a belt and not had these garters if it was up to me. The garters might make more sense if she had like shorts and you could just see her bare legs, but it doesn't. There is a little bit of a design element I notice here where like there's this kind of angled shape over the top of her knees. And I don't know if you can see that on the camera very well. It does remind me of the new 52 Supergirl costume, where she basically had like the regular Supergirl boots, but then it had just kind of like this weird strap that came over the top of her knees like that. And I've seen lots of costume, like cosplay, where people try to do those Supergirl boots, and I rarely see it work out in terms of anything that just looks kind of like they put red duct tape over their knees. It's one of those things. I don't mean to disrespect any of these cosplayers because they work hard and the costumes mostly look great, like even for those new 52 Supergirl outfits. But it's a hard thing to pull off. I don't think that they thought through that design very well. The problem is with the root of the design, not the execution. There's only so well you can execute something like that. So and then, you know, like most of these video game costumes, there's a lot of surface detail added to it and a lot of things that, like, I don't know if are really necessary. To me, like superhero costumes work best when you keep them kind of simple, and they tend to make them overly complicated when they translate them into video games and live action. And it's not so bad in the video games and the live action, but when they try to do that kind of stuff in the comic books, that's when it starts to look a little clunky. You know what I mean? So yeah, I mean, we can probably look. Let's have a look at how she was drawn in the comic book, and if I can find a good full figure shot of her. Now, obviously, they put a lot of this surface detail into the comic book, but they still kind of, this artist was smart, and he still kind of simplified it a little bit, so it looks much better in a comic book than a lot of the times I'll see the artist try to put like every single detail into it, and it just doesn't work as well. But like I said, this one he seems to have like there still kept enough of the detail that you can tell it's supposed to be this costume, but still kind of simplified it a little bit more to make it work as its own thing. Also, another thing they do that's really weird in these comics, I've noticed in the Injustice comics, is a lot of the times they'll draw in Batman's eyeballs, which, traditionally in comics, you don't draw in Batman's eyeballs, but they do in these. And it's just kind of odd to see Batman's eyeballs. You know what I mean? Like you're used to that in a live action version, and I guess the video game is close enough in aesthetic qualities to be like the live action version, but in a comic book it just always strikes me as kind of odd. That's just not how Batman is usually drawn. So I'm talking an awful lot about Batman in a Supergirl action figure review. But I'm really happy with how she turned out. She looks really cool. Like I said, I hadn't had a McFarlane Toys Supergirl figure, and the only other one I saw was the Flash movie version, and that to me was not going to be like anywhere near a definitive Supergirl. And honestly, this one isn't really a definitive Supergirl, but she's still close enough to what I think about as Supergirl that it works, and she'll be something to scratch that itch until maybe eventually they do more of a classic style Supergirl. I would imagine like the most obvious version to use would have been like her 80s style costume, not with the headband. Leave the headband off, but like what Helen Slater wore. You know what I mean? To me, I think that's kind of the most definitive Supergirl costume in terms of what people would recognize as being Supergirl, and the CW version, the one Melissa Benoist, I don't know how you say her last name. So she's like so freaking cute. I should know how to say her last name. but like that type of Supergirl costume. If they made a McFarlane figure of her as Supergirl, I would be all over that. But like I said, this one will work for now, and I'll be happy to have it as a variation of Supergirl. If they get a classic Supergirl figure done later. Let's since I have him handy, and he actually came with a flight stand that's right now got Defenders of the Earth blaster effect stuck on it. There she is next to Superman, so we can see them together with the Henry Cavill Superman. So yeah, I'm pretty happy with how this figure turned out. I'm glad to have it in my collection. I definitely recommend it, and that's pretty much it for this episode. So if you enjoyed it, please like and subscribe, and all the fun YouTube stuff down below. Leave a comment. Let me know what you think about Supergirl and this Supergirl figure in particular. Did you play the Injustice 2 video game? And if so, did you enjoy it? And what did you think about how they handled Supergirl in that? I know she had like a pretty big part in the story function of the game. Like I said, I haven't played it myself, but like I gleaned a little bit of it here and there just from talking to people about it and stuff I've read in comics and stuff like that. So, but that's pretty much it for this episode. Hope you enjoyed it. We will talk to you next time. Bye. I said end broadcast. Would you end the broadcast? There we go.